Hi all guys, welcome to Techno Talks with Lalit episode, and we have very special guest today. If you don't know him already, let me tell you, I have Michael the Wanz with me. And if you don't know who Michael the Wanz is, you should really Google about him. And let me tell you what, he is a Grammy Award winner, singer, and a technology geek. Yeah, you heard it right. A Grammy Award winner, a technology geek, who also happens to be an extraordinary software tester. It's truly an honor to be here with you, Michael, and thanks a lot for agreeing to do this
No problem.
show with me. I would talk about your testing career first, and I'm very much curious about learning it.
Okay.
How did your engagement with technology start?
My engagement with technology started around 1999 when a friend told me that I could record music on computer.
Oh.
And I didn't know anything about computers other than, the rich people had them. But he had an old 486 that he gave me to tinker on, and that had Windows 95 on it. And so I was trying to get it to not crash, get it to not error out, and that's kind of what got me started. After I had that machine for a little while, I got a job because I wanted to learn more. At the time, I was just a delivery driver. I was just delivering boxes to hair salons in town. So I wanted to get something in that paid a little more money, and so my friend, had suggested technology, and that's why he gave me the computer. So he said, if you want to learn more, you should probably get a job at a store. There was a local computer store that was part of a little chain, and I got on there and was there for about 6-8 months learning about how they put them together, and learning what pixel rates were, and how and how OSs work and memory and all this other stuff, so that I could sell these computers, right? One of the guys from the store had gotten on with Microsoft. His team happened to need someone who could work with MIDI.
MIDI format.
Yep. Which,
cool.
because it's music,
Indeed.
I interviewed and got a job, and I was on that team. So I got onto the digital music team, and so the digital music functions in Windows 98, Windows Me, and part of XP. I worked on part of those.
Cool, and I already know about your love for Windows Vista. So
Oh, yeah.
we want to talk about it now. I have been reading about you a lot.
Okay.
Let me tell you, and I learned on internet about you that you were at some point of time early in your career, you were also helping people repair their television sets. And there you learn to talk in technical language by trying to understand non-technical descriptions about the problems your customers had.
Yep.
How this thing or this skill has helped you as a tester?
It has made it very easy to take, let's put it this way. In order to achieve the goal of solving a problem, first you have to agree what the problem is.
Absolutely.
First is the first step to solving a problem is one, agreeing that, realizing that you have one,
Yes.
then being able to say, this is what the problem is. Being the son of a television repairman, I watched my father and learned myself. I couldn't talk about oscillators and resistors and current of electricity flow and horizontal stabilizers and things, yokes on cathode ray tubes, and I couldn't talk like that to people. They just said, my TV is going zzz. And sometimes it was just an adjustment, and sometimes we had to take the TV and work on it that way. But I said, we have to figure out what the problem is, and then be able to find a description that is easy for the other person to understand. So if we say lines going this way, that translates to horizontal stabilizers, first place you start.
Excellent. There was another comment from you about test automation and human testers, and I find that very interesting. In particular, where you talk about the emotional aspect of and the feelings. If I have to ask you today, with this much advancement of technology, do you think automation can replace human testers?
No. No. Automation will always be a tool because until they figure out how to actually regenerate and imitate actual sight, actual sound, because they're getting closer. But only a human knows the difference between blue, green, and what's in the middle.
Absolutely.
Only a human really knows when an image displays on a phone correctly, and it's the same scale and all the same detail as like the live real book, right? I had an interview with Amazon, and one of the interview questions was, so you were on page 61 of a Kindle book, right? And you close that Kindle book, and then you go to pick up another Kindle book, and you sign into the account. And how do you verify that it goes to the same place in the same book that you left off?
Ah, interesting.
And it's a very interesting question because it has to do with where are the words and where is the numbers for the page numbers and so on and so forth. All that stuff has to line up. There are aspects of computing that aren't quite quantifiable yet. I think when they get to that point, we'll be at the artificial intelligence level, where it's so sophisticated, it'll be scary.
Yeah.
I mean, like Terminator scary, because it's not going to end well. We're not, if you give a machine everything but compassion, it will always be logical. And humans are not the most logical creatures in the world.
I agree. Excellent. If I'm to ask you, what is that one thing that you learned from software testing that made your life as a musician easy?
Life as a musician is never easy. But I think, over the years, it was, I earned the time to play music by having a day job, by having a technical job. I learned how to take situations, problems, pictures, and break them down. To get to that was a term that I loved learning. Drill down a little farther, and drill down a little farther. So when you're talking about, say, a file system, so to get all the way to a document, and you start all the way at the root drive and have to drill down through my documents and drill down to my blah, blah, and to get the name and to get the actual document. Imagine doing that for how do I boil an egg? How do I tie my shoe? How do I cross the street? Right? Well, then it starts taking on a whole new meaning. And conversely, all these things that happen in the world, if you think about them from having this perspective, you realize that the whole world, your whole existence is driven by a series of process built upon process built upon process built upon process, which is exactly how computers work.
Indeed. Thank you. In your keynote yesterday, you made very interesting point about Agile, that Agile is about discovering what we don't know yet.
Yes.
Would you like to throw some light on it?
Yes. I was talking somewhat about, a smart person knows what they don't know. A really smart person is able to ask someone else so that they can find out what they don't know.
Okay.
Finding the answers is the key. How is it that when I click the mouse, that page doesn't open? It's the why factor, right? To be a good tester, one has to be able to understand every single process from the click to the screen. That means, there's so many places that it could fail, right? That to me is Agile has been, Agile has given me inspiration to keep asking why questions and at different levels of software development.
That makes a lot more difference.
Because, if I'm involved at the design level, there are user cases that I have in my head that the developer may not have thought of, inspired by what the business requirements are. So in that collaborative environment, it accentuates and raises the quality of whatever's being developed. As everyone has input and you see things from different sides, different experiences, different perspectives, when you can all agree on what the goals are, then it's just a matter of breaking those goals into pieces, charting how you get through each piece, and it makes it a lot more. It's a more predictable development schedule.
Wonderful. One question about connection of your music and again
Okay.
to the testing field. What are those things that you took from your experience with music that help you do your job as a tester much better?
Well, it's got to be right. If you know a song, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, right? It's an easy song, but if those pitches are off, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. That's not how it goes.
Indeed.
So in the same way, the expected outcome is it should sound a certain way. As in most recorded music is like that. All of written music has a certain way. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. Right? From the classics to I'm gonna pop some tags when I got $20 in my pocket.
It's gonna fucking
Yeah, see, they all have their certain sound, and this gets back to your earlier question about could computers actually replace humans? Not quite yet. They'd be able to analyze the tone and tell you, how many cycles per second generates that tone, but they can't tell you if it's correctly put in the right place, if the vowel is sung the right way. This is the thing about music that I love. There are intricacies in it that are interpretations of feelings. And as the power of computing grows, people understand feelings more. And just as a songwriter can translate a feeling into a sentence, maybe one day a developer will be able to write code that translates a feeling into a reaction from a machine.
cool.
Maybe.
Just sounds interesting. Cool. Usually, as a last question, I ask people about their message for aspiring testers, new testers. Today, I would like to ask you, what would be your message to someone who would like to be Michael Wanz?
Well, you can't be me. I'm already me. There's only one me, and just like there's only one you. But if I were just starting out or not very experienced at software testing, I would encourage you to understand how things are put together. I come from a generation where we fixed things.
Right.
We didn't just, if your screen cracked on your cell phone, you didn't just go get a new cell phone.
Yep.
You didn't just take it to someone to replace the screen. You got the screen and replaced it yourself.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're riding your bicycle, you get a flat tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't take
the
it.
puncture.
Yeah, you didn't take it somewhere. You went to the store, got a replacement tire, and you turned it upside down and took the wheel off and fixed it yourself. This thing about process, everything is made up on something. And so a really good tester knows how to take everything apart. How do you take apart this fork? How would you do that? Right? How would you test it to make sure that it works? Pop can, elevator, the ignition key in your car. Everything in a system has process. And if you can figure out what that process is and be able to verify that each process is met, the better you can do that, the better tester you can be, because you'll spot when it doesn't do what it's supposed to. And you'll have a defect. You can verify that defect, you can reproduce that defect, and when you can reproduce that defect over and over again, certify that it's a bug and you can get it fixed.
Excellent. That was really an interesting insight, I would say. I honestly don't want to stop, but I have to because it's an interview. But I will keep in touch with you, and
Okay.
I will keep following your work and
Yes.
keep inspiring people. And thank you so much for whatever you have done for music as well as in technology.
Oh, thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Okay.
See you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.